I hope NFL teams were paying attention to the Big 12 Pro Day because Xavier Guillory made a nice impression on anyone who tuned in.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks to all of you for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. If you need one now, grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. Xavier Gillery, quite the impression that he made at the Big 12 Pro Day. Hopefully everyone was paying attention. Melquan Stovall also had a nice day, and everybody else who participated that you need to be paying attention to. All of that is coming up on today's show. Really quick, I apologize for the absence. Oh man, I have not been sicker in years, but we're back. A lot of content coming your guys' way. As always, I appreciate you guys for sticking around with all the patience. Let's go ahead and dive into Xavier Guillory. Quite a solid performance he had at the Big 12 Pro Days. Now, if you were not aware, instead of ASU having their own individual Pro Day, like they usually do during the NFL draft process, for the guys who don't get invited to the combine or anything like that, the Big 12 actually orchestrated a collective Pro Day for all of the schools together in Frisco at the Ford Center, I believe. And ASU sent 8 guys to go there. They had Xavier Guillory, Melquan Stovall, Jeff Clark, Emmett Bully, Leif Fautanu, Shamari Simmons, Caleb McCullough, and DeCarlos Brooks. We're going to talk about all of them, but man, I feel like Xavier Guillory really made himself a really nice impression for anyone that may not have heard of Guillory prior to this. And it's not a surprise that the vast majority of people don't know who Guillory is. And I'm sure not a lot of ASU fans that watch every single game are also aware of who Guillory is. And he's been here 2 years, and his numbers they're underwhelming. I mean, we can call it what it is. He's got just under 600 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns through 2 seasons. Now, keep in mind, he was banged up in the 2023 season, which ASU was banged up the whole year, and they had miserable quarterback play. And then this past season was very up and down for any receiver that wasn't named Jordan Tyson. But when Tyson went down to injury, Guillory was one of the guys who was able to step up big time for the team. And down the stretch of the year period, Guillory was just instrumental in what ASU needed to get done. I mean, he was able to have that 61-yard touchdown against BYU. He had the 2 touchdowns against Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. He stepped up for ASU when they needed him to step up. And I was very impressed with what he put together this year. Even, again, you look at the stats, 24 catches, 287 yards. Or excuse me, that is Melquan Stovall, who we will be talking about later. 22 catches, 339 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, I understand that's not anything crazy, but ASU really didn't have any crazy producers in the passing game besides Jordan Tyson. So for Guillory to do what he did, I was happy with it. I take it. Then he is able to go to the Pro Day, and he put out some really good workout numbers. So the biggest one for me was his broad jump, a 10-foot, 8-inch broad jump. That is well above the receiver average, which according to of course, I closed it out. I just Googled it, and the first link that I found had the averages for the position. I can't remember what it was. I'll pull it up right now. As I'm doing that, though, the average for the wide receiver position was about 10 feet on the dot, roughly. And he was able to get 8 inches more than that. So that's quite a big difference. Mock Draftable was the one who was able to put together the averages across these different positions. So shout out to Mock Draftable for all of that. But well above average in the broad jump, 10 feet 8 inches, 39-inch vertical. That's about 3.5 inches higher than the average for receivers. His 6.91 second 3-cone drill was right on the average. I think it was like 6.92 repeating, something like that. Not bad. Now, the 40 time, it could have been a lot better. A 4.56. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's certainly not great. It is below average of the 4.5 and change, whatever it ended up being. And for what it's worth, 15 reps of 225. I mean, sounds like a guy I'm not trying to take a slug from, but and he's still an above average size guy and everything. He's over 6 feet, roughly 200 pounds or so. Like, he's got the looks of an NFL player. He's got the workouts of an NFL player. Sure, he's slower than your average receiver, but I mean, he still is testing athletically as well as everybody else. He can jump, he can cut, he's explosive, and we saw it at Arizona State too. We saw that he can make the big plays down the field. He can make guys miss. And then you got to look at the stuff that goes beyond the box score too. Like, he's got pretty reliable hands. Yeah, he drops the ball every once in a while. He didn't have his best game against Texas. No one really did. But for the most part, when you needed to go to Guillory, he felt like a pretty safe option for ASU the last 2 seasons. And I mean, prior to this, he had some decent success at Idaho State too. His 2022 season, before he transferred to ASU, he had 52 catches, 785 yards, and 4 touchdowns. His yards per reception is hovering around 15 for his career. He's just a very reliable player and was good at Idaho State. He was good at ASU, despite middling numbers. Like, he doesn't have 2,000 career receiving yards. He's, what is that? Like 17 and change, something like that, if you added up the 5 seasons. But to me, when you look at Guillory, you have to look beyond the numbers. And that's not always easy to do, because that's the first thing people look at. And it's pretty hard to sell someone on, like, hey, you should pay attention to this receiver going into the draft. And you're like, oh, okay, tell me about him. And they're like, oh, he played 5 years. He has less than 2,000 yards, 15 career touchdowns. Best receiving yards in the season was 785. And you're going to get guys that are like, why am I going to be looking at this guy who doesn't do anything? But what Guillory does have to his advantage, and what he had before the pro day, was he had some national games, the Big 12 championship and the Peach Bowl against Texas, to advertise himself. And it was mixed reviews. It was whatever against Texas. He had the standout game against Iowa State, and a great secondary in Iowa State, keep in mind. And now at the pro day, which I feel at times where pro days, maybe not the most important thing in the world. I feel that way more when it comes down to what's it called? When it comes more to the guys who participated at the combine, I don't think the pro day is as important. But guys who don't get to go to the combine, and Guillory did not get to go to Indianapolis for the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine this year. But the guys who don't, when you're able to make the most of it like this, I think that that's something that NFL teams need to take into account, and they need to go, okay, well, you know what? That was a much better performance than we anticipated, kind of thing. Like, I wasn't looking at this guy before. Maybe now I need to look at him a little bit more. Like, those are good workout numbers. Okay, let's look at the tape. And it's like, okay, well, he's got some standout plays. He's got his limitations. Like, he isn't like some perfect prospect. He's not Odell Beckham or anyone like that coming out of Arizona State, but there is stuff to look at here. And again, to me, a lot of it is beyond the numbers. It's the athleticism, it's the size profile, and it's his character too. I know that's a tired trope. I understand. I really do. But he is a high effort player, and he is a team motivated, team first individual. And he is someone that takes on a leadership role and takes his job very, very seriously. That is important. Now, some NFL teams are gonna value that more than others, but he has the integrity that you need from a young man and an individual to go from collegiate to professional and like the top of the world kind of stuff. I just hope he got someone's attention more than anything. Does he get drafted? I just don't think so. I don't know, man. Like, I would love it, and if he were to get drafted, it would be because someone took notice of this pro day. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. What I know is an NFL team hopefully was paying attention, hopefully took a note and said, let's make him a camp body at worst. Let's bring him in as a undrafted free agent. Let's work him out. Let's see what he can do. Let's throw him up with some of the other guys who are undrafted. How does he stack up? Does he look as good as Joe Schmo, undrafted out of blank university? Let's find out. I do think there's stuff there for him to advertise himself. I also think that Melquan Stovall made himself a little bit of an impression during his time in Frisco. He's got a lot of work to do, though. That's coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Time to talk about our friends over at Nissan. We're all about the stats here because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X, the numbers are on an MVP level, with the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, and quite literally the whole team, plus the gear wherever you go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada PRO-4X, whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada PRO-4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada PRO-4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Also want to talk about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings, it snuck up on us once again. And if you're feeling like you lost that hour of sleep, then 5 Hour Energy is your friend. They're going to get your back. That extra sunshine means more time for fun. And sometimes you need a little bit of a boost to get you through. So whether you're staying up late for this NCAA tournament, squeezing around in of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy workday, 5 Hour Energy gives you the quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I have been staying up for the tournament. Night one, I'm all in. I am a tired person. When I get up for work tomorrow morning, I'm going to need my 5 Hour Energy to get me good to go. I've got my Tropical Burst ready to go for me. I can get it wherever is most convenient for me. So, if I'm just swinging by a convenience store or a gas station, I can pick it up for myself. They're travel sized, of course, so I can grab it, keep it in my pocket. It's easy to go, and it keeps me feeling refreshed all day long. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blueberry, peach mango, and the Tropical Burst that I have ready for myself. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. If you need one now, go to 5hourenergy.com to get one. If you need it now, then go to your local grocery store or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Get yourself a 5 Hour Energy. Thanks, as always, for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils and making us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Melquan Stovall made himself a little bit of a name, more than I think anybody knew beforehand, but he does have some work to do. Want to talk about the workout numbers? Stovall, not a bad day. Nothing that blows you away. 39-inch vertical, also above average. That tied the vertical that Xavier Guillory did. So about a 3.5-inch higher jump than what the typical receivers do. 10 10-foot, 3-inch broad jump, slightly above average. His 6.88 3-cone time was also slightly above average. He threw up 15 reps of 225. Keep in mind, he is 5'8" and 180 pounds soaking wet, something like that. With no offense there to Stovall at all. Again, I'm not trying to take a hook from him. I think he would do some damage to me. Here's what was really exciting was a 4.4440 time. The second fastest time that was at the Big 12 Pro Days, which, I mean, it was a pretty big gap after Monterey Baldwin from Baylor ran a 4.32, but Baldwin was someone that a lot of people were anticipating was going to run a blazing time anyways as one of the fastest players in the Big 12. That wasn't a surprise. Stovall finishing number 2, though, you're pretty happy with that, and he finished ahead of some good players. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, granted coming off an injury, he ran faster than him from U of A. He ran faster than Brandon Presley from Oklahoma State. That was an impressive one for me. Faster than Quentin Skinner from Kansas. That was a good one. Garrett Green from West Virginia was another good one for me. So there was quite a few guys that he ran faster than I thought was a pretty good statement. So you got to be happy with that. The workout was not bad. Again, most of this was slightly above average to above average, whatever. That's a good start, especially for a guy that I would tell you in the nicest way, like Guillory would have been an afterthought at best for NFL teams. I don't know if anyone is looking at Melquan Stovall, right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that's going against him. For one, he's an undersized guy. Again, he's 5'8", 180 some odd pounds. He's not what a lot of NFL teams are looking for. And I mean, it's hard for next level jump anyways. It's not common that you have these smaller guys that are able to sustain any kind of success at the next level. But NFL teams are also going to look at the success and the production, and Stovall doesn't have that. Stovall, in his 6 seasons of college football, 3 with Nevada, 1 with Colorado State, 2 with ASU, just a single receiving touchdown. That came in 2021. 1 touchdown in 6 years. And quite a bit of what's it called? Volume. Quite a bit of targets and catches that he was able to haul in as well. In that time frame, he was able to haul in, oh my goodness, of course, in his, that is not 199. I need a new keyboard. In his 6 years of college football, he brought in 163 passes for a single touchdown. He also would have been right at 10 yards a reception at best. 3 of his seasons were 9 yards per reception or under. And again, he hasn't had a touchdown since 2021. Like, he doesn't have this huge track record that you look at and you go, we'll take a yards or whatever, any kind of number like that. Like, it's just not there for him. It's not anything that he was able to control. He just wasn't able to get the production that an NFL team would have preferred to have seen. It is what it is. But between that, being undersized, and I just don't know if there's anything that he does that separates him from other guys. It's just hard to stand out. It's hard to separate himself from the pack of hundreds of thousands of receivers that are trying to get to the pros the same way that Melquan is. But he had to have caught some eyes. I feel like when you walk away from a pro day, if you're able to do something to stand out, that's great. But what really helped Stovall, and this helped Guillory too, and this helped some of the other guys we're going to talk about here in a minute, is competing with other programs is going to make the pool bigger so you have guys to compare yourself against. Like if it was just Stovall and Guillory at ASU's Pro Day in Tempe by themselves, I promise no one is looking at Stovall. And I'm not saying that's right, but it's just probably the way it is. But when you put him on a field to compete with others, that does allow him to stand out from some of the other guys that are there. And then on teams that do have boards, that have some of these guys closer together, and it's like, oh, well, this Baylor receiver and this Kansas State receiver and this Utah receiver and this ASU receiver, Melquan Stovall, we have them kind of similar to each other, blah, blah, blah. But then Stovall's able to come out and, oh, wow, look, he's so much faster than A, B, and C receiver. And it's like, oh, well, maybe that'll separate him, and now we bump him up the board and stuff like that. So this was a very good event that Stovall was able to participate in. I do think that he was definitely able to do enough to at least separate himself from some of the guys he was there with. Now, again, I don't know if that's going to be enough to ultimately get these NFL teams to get off their rocker and say, hey, this guy might be someone we need to invest in moving forward. I hope that's the case. I hope that he caught some eyes, because I'll go ahead and copy and paste what I said about Xavier Guillory here. And that's that Stovall is he's a team leader. He's a team captain. He's someone that these players will gravitate to. And he's not the big rah-rah guy, but he's the cool, calm, collective. He's, hey, give me the ball. I'm going to find something to do for you. He converts the fourth downs. He will always be infamously known, not him infamously, but for the non-targeting call against Texas when the Texas safety just cracked him. Didn't get the call, is what it is. Unfortunately, that was Melquan. But, I mean, I still thought he caught the ball. I was at the stadium, granted, so I didn't get to see the replay, but I thought he held on to that ball. And he would step up when he needed him to. So it goes beyond the numbers again. Is that enough? I don't know. And quite frankly, the smaller size is going to be a harder sell for some teams, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I do think that this was exactly what he needed at this pro day, at this event, to be able to advertise himself as, hey, I am more than what is seen here. Give me an opportunity to impress you more. Give me that chance as a walk-on or a tryout, a camp body, whatever, and let me show you that I have more to offer than what I was able to put together statistically during my time in college. Very happy with what Stovall was able to do. The other guys who worked out for ASU, we're going to go over their numbers, and I got to remind everyone that Shamari Simmons is still a thing. Coming up next, this is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to make Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. More guys worked out at the Pro Day for ASU. Not everyone had this like super standout, flashy performance or anything, but there were some guys who were able to do some stuff to stand out a little bit. And I'm here to let you know what they did, and I'm also here to remind you about Shamari Simmons. Simmons did not have any workout numbers that were recorded or anything like that. Reminder, this kid is really good at football, and he is going to be playing on Sundays, and whoever finds him on their team, whether it's at the end of the draft, undrafted, whatever, I promise you, they are going to be getting a NFL caliber football player. who can play safety, who can play slot, who can play the run, who can cover, who can create turnovers. He is good at football, and that matters. I'm hoping that whoever decides to roll the dice on him sees that, sees what I see, sees what ASU fans see, and they can decide for themselves, yeah, this guy is worth a dice roll this late in the draft. Why not? And then, oh, well, turns out we got the steal of the draft. And this is one of the best nickel corners that the NFL is going to see in a handful of years. Am I promising that? No. But I am promising you that he is going to be someone that turns heads. I'm all in on Shamari Simmons. I've seen more than enough of him in 2 years. I saw what he did this past season. He's special, man. One of the biggest snubs from the combine. He's special. And maybe didn't have the workout numbers, but I still think that he's someone that's going to prove people wrong. All right, the 5 guys who were able to work out for ASU, though, let's go through them real quick. Number 1, Caleb McCullough. Unfortunately, the workout numbers pretty much below average across the board. Nothing really stood out. Caleb McCullough, I love him to pieces. It is going to be a hard sell for NFL teams to take that chance on him. But if you'll allow me to try and sell you, you can't teach what this kid has. And he's got leadership qualities. He's got patience. He's got determination to be able to get through tough situations, stick it out in tough situations. He's a high character guy. And he's someone that was very impressive to me this past season for ASU. Someone that not a lot, if any, people were talking about, and someone who has become one of my favorite players for ASU over the last several years, and certainly since the start of this podcast. I hope that someone takes a peek at him. Pro Day wasn't anything special. I don't know. Emmett Boley, again, he was at least average across the board when it came to all of his workout numbers and everything. If you'll allow me to sell you, he has a lot of playing time and he can move. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He has right side and left side experience. There's stuff there to work with. There's a lot of snaps that he has played in his time in college, from ASU to his days before that. And of course, I can't remember where it was, but there's a lot to work with for Emmett Boley. Jeff Clark, similar to McCullough, below average across the board. It is going to be hard to kind of sell teams. If you'll allow me to try and sell you, he is a veteran. There's playtime there. There's solid production. I think that he still has solid NFL size. I know he's not the biggest dude in the world, but give him a shot. And certainly someone that I feel could find a job as a rotational player for you. Carlos Brooks, he actually did have a pretty big standout number with a 10-foot, 10-inch broad jump. That is above the running back average from, we say mock draftable earlier, that I want to say it was about 7 or 8 inches longer than the average for the running back position. If you'll allow me to sell you, I know the production's not really there, but there's a lot of tread on those tires. There's a lot of tread on those tires. Part of it has been injury, and that is important. But he's NFL size, he's a power back, and it's pretty fresh. So as long as he's healthy, I mean, you're getting a brand new toy. He could come out and be super fresh, squeaky clean, and be able to churn out an NFL career. We'll wait and see. Leif Fautanu, last guy I want to mention here as we round this bad boy out. Slightly above average to average across the board. He did have a 5.18 40 time for what it's worth, which is above average for the center spot, but it wasn't anything that like you walk away and you go, wow, this guy's a freak. That being said, like what I said earlier about Shamari Simmons being a snub from the combine. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. I said one of the biggest snubs. And if I didn't, well, then there's doubling down. But just like Shamari Simmons was one of the biggest snubs from the combine, Leif Fautanu was another huge snub from the combine. I was more shocked Fautanu didn't get invited than Shamari did. And I was blown away that Shamari did not get an invite. But I'm also equally shocked that Fautanu is not like universally talked about as a minimum a drafted football player. I don't get that. Dude was amazing at ASU. Didn't miss any games, was one of the few consistent starters on the offensive line, both when it came to health and play, production, all that good stuff. He was great before at UNLV. He's an all-conference player. He's got NFL size. I don't know what we're doing. But you know what? That's not for me to decide, I suppose. But I do think that he is someone that NFL teams should come back around and look at and go, yeah, no, there's more here than what we initially thought and evaluated. And it wasn't this pro day that blew you away. Most of it was average across the board when you compare it to the center position. He's a little quicker than most. But to me, this is like you got to go back and look at this kid. He's a lot better than people realize. The accolades are there, and he certainly has tons of snaps for you to look at. He's a good football player. He's a good kid. He's a friend of the podcast. He needs more love. Shamari Simmons needs more love. Melquan Stovall hopefully caught people's attention, and Xavier Guillory made a statement at the pro day. What do you guys think? Were you able to keep up on the pro day? Who made the most money in your opinion, and who still has the most approved? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter at RichieBrads36 or the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. You'll get the update whenever we post new content. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to make Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Guys, again, being sick sucks, but I appreciate that I have the best fans in the whole world who continue to support the podcast through thick and thin. We will be back tomorrow because I want to address a recent ESPN article that talked about a potential breakout for ASU in 2025. It was a running back, not the one you think. And I will tell you that ESPN is 100% right to believe in Kyson Brown. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.